Welcome to another AWC Spotlight interview. I'm your host, Kaufman, and I'm with you today with a very, very exciting guest, Dale L. Roberts, who's going to be one of our huge speakers and panelists about Amazon and advertising and all these different things at the AuthorTube Writing Conference. I am so excited to get into it. For those of you who don't know, welcome. I'm Kaufman. Tomorrow is the first day of the AuthorTube Writing Conference. Welcome, welcome. We're going to be having so much fun. We got 40, 50 plus author tubers talking about all different types of topics with the AWC. We're starting tomorrow. So today we're doing a special sneak peek into Dale's panel. And let me tell you, Dale is an expert when it comes to advertising. Dale, I'll let you introduce yourself and take it away for anyone who doesn't know you.
Hey, I'm Dale L. Roberts. I'm a master shuffleboard player. I also, I love to have margaritas on the beach. Uh, okay, all right, Kaufman's laughing, so that means I probably should say my serious stuff. I'm an indie author. I've been doing this for well over a decade now. I'm also a YouTuber. I've been doing that for nearly a decade now, and this is the stuff that I do for a living. I teach people how to write and publish books that sell.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. So, Dale, I'm so excited to have you. Although now I totally blame you if I'm wanting to have margaritas on the beach after this.
Right, exactly.
Really
I
blame
mean,
you for that one.
you can't beat a good fruity drink on the beach, man. Well, actually, hang on. If it's rainy, probably not. But I mean,
No,
I
I
guess.
think I think you could because then you got the ambiance. Then your fruity drink's going to be a little on the wetter side.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. Maybe we
Mhm.
just load it up with more alcohol because it's going to
There we
get
go.
watered down, right?
Interesting. Okay, this feels like the start to a next story. All right, I think this is what.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh man, Dale, you have done so much with your community. You've been in the AuthorTube space, talking about publishing, indie publishing, all the different aspects of publishing for so many years. You speak at so many conferences and events. It's been. I had to go back and look on your YouTube channel. Whenever I meet a YouTuber, I'm like, "What's the first video that's still on their channel? Which one have they not got rid of?" And I was like, "All right, it was an interview from 8 years ago."
Yeah.
How before we get into the AWC stuff, how's the journey been? How's it feel now as you're kind of like looking back on these 8 past years?
It's kind of crazy because I always kind of think of it like in a blip whenever
Mhm,
someone like brings up where they had started, because you and I were
mhm.
discussing how you had started writing as soon as you came out of the womb. You had a pencil in your hand ready to, like,
Exactly.
actually it
Yep.
was crayon. I think you said it was a crayon.
Yep. It was a
um
grand.
but it makes me kind of reflect on the process and the journey that I've had, and it's just absolutely staggering to me thinking
Mhm.
that it's been 11 years since I held a day job. And at that time, I thought for sure, like, going into this whole writing career, I was like, oh, as soon as I publish another book, I'm gonna be making millions. Yeah, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. And it was a lot of just really bad decisions that gave
Okay.
very tough results. And it definitely, thankfully, it didn't break me, but it
Okay.
certainly hardened me, and it also made me
Mhm.
more aware of every last little dollar that I made, that I needed to treasure it so much more, because at that
Mhm.
time, a dollar was a
Mhm.
lot. Like,
Yeah.
you would see me scrounge. If there was a penny on the ground, I don't care. I'm going to pick that thing up. These days, I walk along and I go, that's abundance for somebody else that needs it. I was like, because for me
Mhm.
now, I'm good. I'm in a great position. And yeah, it took about 2 years before I saw any real traction as an author, where I was making a
About 2 years.
substantial.
Okay.
Yeah, it was about 2 years before I really, because I left my day job September of 2014, and I think it was January of 2016 when I
Mhm.
saw real traction, where I was like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, I'm breathing a sigh of relief, because I burned through all of my savings,
Mhm.
gutted my 401k, which really sucked, maxed out my credit cards, things like that. So by the time
Ah.
2016 came along, on
Mhm.
paper, it looks
Mhm.
like I'm freaking annihilating it.
Oh
But
no. Okay.
you have to understand that I had to dig myself out of that hole that I put myself over a couple of years.
Mhm.
And yeah, school hard knocks. I learned a lot of things the hard way. I think
Mhm.
this is one of the things I say to everybody is, don't quit your day job.
Mhm.
Work on it
Dale,
as a
Dale, I'm
part
sorry.
time.
I quit my day job.
Yeah, right. You and I were taking the punchline away from you, man.
I know. I know what I can't help it. And the margaritas, right?
Yeah, well, so it's if you are prepared to handle that challenge, go for it. But
Hmm.
I don't think you understand until you're actually in the fire that
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, like you're going to have to sacrifice some of the lifestyle choices
Hmm.
that you have. You're going to have to sacrifice that time you would otherwise want to be binging on Netflix and chilling. You're going to have to
Hmm.
pass on the time that you want to spend with your bros, things like
Hmm.
that. Like, because you got to pay the bills. And so as a writer, what do? You're right. And if
Hmm.
you're not writing, you better be promoting. If you're not promoting, you better be writing. And it's just a vicious cycle. But I'm really glad YouTube came along. And I will tell
Hmm.
you, it came along shortly after that breakthrough success as a fitness author back then. And when
Hmm.
I broke into YouTube, I also had this inflated understanding, this delusional outlook that I was going to upload videos and boom, I'm just going to be the next PewDiePie because he was really big back then. He
Yep.
still is
Yep.
now.
I know. It was the pre Mr. Beast era.
Right. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. And I'm
Mhm.
thinking in my head, I'm like, because I seen his videos, I'm going, you know what? I could do some, but people are going to be really empowered. They're going to learn how to write and publish just like I do. And yeah, I sucked. I did. In fact, actually, you did point out a pretty good, interesting fact because that first interview you're talking about was with Camille Martin, was her name, an author.
Actually, I
She
think I think it was a guy. Actually, I was like, I have to go.
maybe it's since been unlisted. There were a lot of videos that I ended up pulling because they just
It,
weren't good.
oh, I know. I've already done that as well. I was like, there's some that because like I
Yeah.
told you, I started with inspirational,
Mhm.
but this is a writing channel. I'm like, it's might be funny, but I was like, I don't think that's the vibe I'm
Right.
going.
Yeah. Unless it's writing inspiration, then you're
Mhm.
good. Yeah. Then
Mhm.
you're right, ready to rock and roll.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's been really nice. I think a lot of people find it very hard to
Mhm.
understand that a person can be two things. They can be
Mhm.
an author, they can be a video creator. A lot of people
Mhm.
think like, oh, he's just a video creator trying to sell his course. It's like, no, no, I literally do write and publish books, and now people can
Mhm.
literally see it publicly and watch and
Mhm.
follow along as I launch
Mhm.
each one of these books.
Mhm.
And it's going to continue that way as I pivot over
Mhm.
to fiction in the next few months. Going into
Ooh, you're
October,
pip.
I'll
So
be
you're coming
yeah.
over to the fiction space.
Yep, yep.
As a total fantasy fiction nerd, that just sparked my interest.
There you go. Got you out of the nonfiction because I mean that's not the most exciting thing. Sci-fi horror is
Although
where I'm going to
I've
go.
read so much nonfiction over the past like 10 years. Like, come on, you to build the life, improve the mindset. It's like
Yeah,
you need the nonfiction. It's absolutely critical.
yeah. Just not as fun. It's just not as fun as fiction, and that's really what
Oh,
I
but I
I,
mean,
I
I would
love.
challenge that if you're improving your life. I think improving your life is fun. It's just not small fun, bite size.
And also, like, let's
Mhm.
just also face the facts. There's some things you can get out of fiction you're not going to get in nonfiction, like murdering or something like that. Which you could probably get some nonfiction ones on the black or the dark web, if you will. Uh, this is where our conversation's going, Kaufman.
All right, guys, we're talking about the dark web today and how to market on the dark web.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so Dale, so you built this huge brand, right? You're well over 100,000. You've been at so many events, and you've done so much these past 8 years, and you've really focused now on helping indie authors in the publishing space.
Yeah.
What? And I know your conference, the panel tomorrow, is about Amazon ads with the pros. For anybody who doesn't know, why did you want to dig into this specific conversation for the AWC?
This actually stems back, I think, the year before last. And this all actually comes because of a mutual friend of ours, Shannon SD Houston.
Mm-hmm.
She's the founder of AuthorTube Writing Conference and a good
Every
friend of
everyone
mine.
give Esty Houston a round of applause.
Yes,
She's in
big
the
shout
chat.
out.
Thanks,
Big
Esty.
shout out.
Mhm.
But she had approached me and I thought it was a really like a clever idea. It's not just a
Mhm.
conference, like it's a massive YouTube collaboration. And I was like,
Mhm.
I'm in, let's do it. And I
Mhm.
did it the first year. But then, like the next year, at that point, I was like, "Look, I'm not doing conferences. Everything's on hold. I'm just not
Mhm.
doing any of that stuff. I need a break." And I did. I needed some time off. But then I saw how well AuthorTube Writing Conference went in the second year, and I'm like, "Damn it!"
Oh, no. Okay.
So I'm having a conversation with her, and I'm like, "Look, you help me out with a Kickstarter, all right? I'm going to bring you one of the best talks you could ever have. I'm going to get every self-publishing company together to do a
Mhm.
roundtable. and
Mhm.
talk. Like, it's going to be like the We Are the World of self-publishing. And
Ooh.
it was a little bit of a far-fetched idea, but I got excited about it because I
Mhm.
thought, how cool would it be to have Ingram Spark, Drafted Digital, Streetlib,
Mhm.
Lulu. I tried KDP, but they did turn me down, sadly. But I did all these ones. But it was really cool to bring them all into a same virtual space,
Mhm.
and it was a harmonious conversation. It was very
Mhm.
delightful for me to kind of do, and
Mhm.
so I thought, how do I follow up this year, like this
Okay.
past year? So what am I going to do this year that's going to be equally as good, if not better? And I
Mhm.
know one of the biggest pain points a lot of authors have is Amazon advertising. And I hear far too often some authors say Amazon ads don't work. They do work. You're just doing them wrong. And
Mm.
it doesn't matter the niche. I'm going to tell you, every single niche is
Mhm.
capable of selling over on Amazon,
Mm.
but your
Mhm.
expectations need to match reality. The reality is
Mhm.
it's not an ATM. You're not just putting in money and it's spitting money back out. You have
Wait,
to
so I
learn.
can't just like put in like $100 and sell 1,000 books?
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
This is one of the more heartbreaking stories I hate sharing, and I'm sure if he ever sees this, he knows that I'm saying this in love and hopefully passing this lesson on to everybody else.
Mhm.
But this gentleman and his mother had gotten a hold of me, and they'd published a children's book. Actually, I think they did like a few children's books,
Okay.
and it looked great. It was fantastic, and sure, it needed some tweaking here and there with it, like its ad copy or its book description needed to be a little bit better. But
Okay.
beyond that, it was good. But here's the problem: they went onto Amazon's platform.
Okay.
They set their budget at $1,000 per day, and then they just put it at $1 per click. Within
No.
a few days, this is a nightmare scenario because a lot of times
Yeah.
Amazon's not going to do this, but it just depends on the targeting that you've set up. They burned through $3,000 and only got 12 sales for it.
Oh,
12
that
sales.
hurts. That makes me cry. Makes me
And
cringe. Oh.
yeah, it's not like they were getting
Oh.
hundreds of dollars per sale of
Mhm.
each book. Because I mean, you're
Mhm.
probably talking like $4 or $5. I mean, maybe more. I don't know, maybe less. But it's
God,
not
3,000 to 12 books. I mean, that's
12
what
books
that's almost
sold.
what, like 500 is the cost per buy.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's that specific situation that illustrates that. And this is, like I said, this is not me. It's all in love. I've seen
Mhm.
people do the same thing. They think that throwing money at the problem is going to solve things.
Mhm.
Amazon ads only works if you're willing to put in the time and also if you have the budget. I know it's very discriminatory. Like, if you don't
Mhm.
have the money, well, F off. Like, it sucks. But I want to give just a bit of an argument here, Kaufman. It's the fact that there is a free resource available to every person that has an Amazon KDP account and also opens up an Amazon advertising account. You
Mhm.
don't have to spend money on Amazon ads to go through some of the free tools and understanding Amazon's marketplace.
Okay.
And that is going to come through what they call the Amazon Ads Academy. And Amazon Ads
Mhm.
Academy
Okay.
actually will give you certifications on different types of endorsements, like sponsored product ads or
Okay.
sponsored brand ads, things like that. You're able to understand at a more granular level. And there are even some
Mhm.
courses that are outside of the scope of what we need to handle with. But here's the thing: is I challenge you, still sit down, go through those courses, because you're going to get a better
Mhm.
understanding of Amazon as a whole. They're
Mhm.
telling you, like, they're giving you the cheat sheet. They're going,
Mhm.
here, read this.
This is
And
how to
people
use
are
it.
choosing to willingly not do that. They're going over and they're spending,
Mm.
I don't know, $1,000 on someone Amazon ads course.
Well,
Like,
I'm
yeah,
not surprised. And I think it's the same problem a lot of people end up having with social media in general, right?
yeah,
They see things that work, they see certain things and then try to copy it without understanding why and how the algorithm works at that
yes.
point in time.
That's it.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
just they assume, and
Mhm.
unfortunately,
Yep.
this is portion of the business in advertising. You can't just assume, and especially with no
And,
data to
that's
back
called
it up.
the throwing spaghetti at the wall method.
Right, exactly. Let's see what's going to stick here.
Yep.
But yeah. So long story short, I was answering your question of why I wanted to put this together. Amazon
Mhm.
ads, very big pain point. I thought
Mhm.
last year the roundtable thing worked really, really well. Let me
Okay.
do it this year, and I already had like a good handful of contacts I could have brought in for Amazon ads.
Mhm.
But I just knew at the top of my head, like all-star players, I wanted to bring back people I've already had on my channel. So for instance, Rick
Okay.
Wong of Seller Metrics, Vincent
Okay.
B. Davis II of Book Sales Pro. I've worked with Teddy Smith from Publishing Performance on his channel. I was like, dude, we got to bring you over. He's a smart guy. And then, of course, Dave Chesson, the Kindlepreneur. I was like, Dave, I called him up on the phone. I was like, hey, man, you're going to do this? And of course, he was game. And then Brian Cohen. And Brian was such a sweetheart because I know that he's torn in 50,000 different directions. Now, Brian Cohen, the biggest significance about that is, well, he's a good friend of mine, but also Amazon Ads actually parades him about. He's like the poster child for KDP Publishing and using Amazon Ads because he does teach other people. So I'm bringing in a guy that is working with somebody that's clients are typically 6 and 7 figures.
Okay.
They're pulling in a
Yeah.
big lion's share of stuff. And so, yeah, I wanted to bring this whole all-star cast. And there was a 6th person. Unfortunately, they never answered, so they didn't get that 6th
Sometimes
spot.
that's just the reality, right?
It worked.
I mean,
It
hey,
worked
the
out.
fact that you're still able to bring in all those other big names, like that feels like a
5.
huge success.
Yeah,
5 and 6 is
pretty
like
impressed.
that's a really good success ratio. That's what 80-90%.
The
Assuming that
important
some
thing
people
is,
try to email and like they get less than 50% response.
yeah, the important thing is, Kaufman, is if you want to get those guests and bring them in all at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
you just have to extort and threaten them. Just get some dirty
Got
evidence
you.
on them. And
Okay.
I was
Okay.
like,
So
Dave, I've
that's the
got
name of the
these.
game. Get
Yeah,
extortion material on all of the
exactly.
author tubers out there. I love it.
Look,
Okay.
some people like to call it unethical, but I like to call it creative.
Wait, Dale, so wait, how do people extort you?
What? Well done, Kaufman. Well done. I feel almost like we're doing the yes and.
Oh man. Well, I've before I hop into another question, and I see a number of author tubers and writers here in the community popping in. It looks like I had and by the way, SD, always welcome, friend. Always good to have you in here. Our fearless leader for the AuthorTube Writing Conference. You'll get to see more of SD, myself, and Devin tomorrow at the opening ceremony as we kick off the AuthorTube Writing Conference. I'll throw those all in the chat. They're linked down in the video below. And let's see, Matthew, welcome, by the way. Matthew had a really good question for you. And let me know if this works. So Matthew said, how do you self-publish or launch different languages on different Amazon country pages? Or can you do them all from ours? Any tips on having your websites automatically switch languages? Do you know?
You'll have to end up publishing different editions at that point. So you would need a separate ISBN for each language that you end up putting there. And what I would say is when you're uploading, based on the language, choose the primary marketplace accordingly. So I'm just going to throw a random one out there. I would say for Spain, you would be choosing Spanish as your language, or Spanish is your language. You'd be choosing Spain. Possibly Mexico. Just think about those languages and which marketplace. It's just going to get it to where it's easier when you're doing your keywords and you're selecting your categories that it is region specific. Not all languages crush it over here in the US. You're going to find out in different regions is where it's going to work really, really well. But yes, it is very, very possible. Just keep in mind that you're going to have to do different versions. So either A, you can use the free assigned ISBNs. I don't recommend it, but that's a long story why I don't. Or B, you come in with your own ISBN and then you can go ahead and have every single one of those. Now, keep in mind that you have your English version. Okay. You can do ebook, paperback, hardcover, audiobook, and if you're feeling squirrely, maybe large print. Okay. That is 5 different iterations under one language. Now, just imagine we just take that original IP and translate it into, let's say, German. Okay. Now we've got another 5 assets. So you're going to have to consider those expenses as you're kind of going along. Okay. How much money is it going to be for me to get these covers, these ISBNs? Do I really need an ISBN with my ebook and audiobook? Answer is no, but it is a nice thing to have if you're going wide. But yeah, it's smart business, but I will tell you that you need to treat it the same as all the other assets. How are you going to what is your marketing strategy? Because just going to do it, you need to lower your expectations because just publishing things blindly hasn't worked that well over the last 10 years. And this is no knock on you, Matthew, by any stretch. There's a lot of times I think some people have that expectations of, say, 2010. 2010, you could wipe your butt on a piece of paper, publish it through KDP, and you're raining money. All of a sudden people are feeding you grapes and they've got like those, big palm leaves, and just fanning you and stuff. Now, them days are gone, unfortunately. So just be careful about spreading yourself too thin across multiple languages. I'm saying this from experience.
Mhm.
because I've done numerous, let's see here, translations in 7 different languages.
Mhm.
It just gets ridiculous. And after a while, it almost becomes like a nickel and diming situation. Like you get like 10 cents here, 20 cents there, like nothing that's going to be life changing. So spread out carefully.
And Dale, I saw a couple of comments after that, which I think kind of goes into the same vibe or the same conversation of that there's a lot of fear from writers or authors in using Amazon advertising effectively. Now I know you had touched on the using the Amazon Academy, I believe you'd called it. So using the Amazon Academy, but from a purely like psychological, like working on myself type of deal in terms of the mindset. Do you have any recommendations to help authors be able to kind of bridge some of those fears when it comes to Amazon advertising?
Start low. Start
Okay.
embarrassingly low, like so low that
Mhm.
you don't even want to share it with anybody.
Mhm.
Um, it,
So like one penny.
Yeah, 2 pennies technically. I think
Okay.
that's the
Okay.
lowest you can do your cost per click. I think is 2 cents.
Okay.
Lowest you can do your daily budget's $1, and you're going to go into it with the expectation of I'm not going to sell anything. If
Hmm.
I do sell something, it's just paying me to learn. Think of it
Okay.
like an education because you're going to be going in and putting in, let's say, $1 per day. I recommend if you get the discretionary expenses, $10 per day on a single ad, but I've got the discretionary expense to cover
Hmm.
$300 in ad spend per month.
Hmm.
That, with that said, just go at your own pace. Just understand that if you're putting in $1 per day or $2 or $3, don't expect to be selling hundreds of dollars. All you're going to be doing is mining the data. It's going in there and understanding what keywords or targets are converting best, which ones are not converting or irrelevant, and where do you need to kind of put those. So it's just understanding the full system. And I would say give yourself, I mean, at least a month to 3 months to fully kind of go, oh, have your light bulb moment. Because if you go in and you're checking that on a daily basis and reflecting on what's coming in through search terms reports, what am I purging through negative targeting, things like that, you'll start to get that light bulb moment. It's going to make a lot more sense. It's also going to give you
Hmm.
the opportunity to tweak and fine tune your approach. So start low, scale slow. And when I mean say scale slow, if you're starting $1 per day,
Start low, scale slow.
start low, scale slow. Yeah, you start giving me a question. I was like, did I say it right? But yeah, take your time, and I would say give yourself at least a month to 2 months at that low rate. And if you start to say, okay, I'm starting to understand this, then you can start to ramp it up. But it's going to give you at least enough information to get that light bulb moment. Whereas opposed to just going and doing Amazon Academies like videos or watching some YouTubers videos and following along with them, nothing beats just doing it yourself. Just taking that time and figuring it out and just tweaking things and playing
Hmm.
with a little bit here, a little bit there. I know it's unnerving because nobody
Hmm.
wants to walk into a casino knowing they're a loser. You know, if
Right.
you want to go in thinking, okay, I'm going to win, I'm going to leave, and you're going to have big money. No, first you got to sit
But
down at
I
the
think that
blackjack
also comes
table.
with the mindset of if you're going to go and gamble, right?
Yep,
Gamble with money that you have to gamble with, right?
that's
And
it.
I imagine it's that same ideology.
Absolutely,
Hmm.
it so totally is. So yeah, it's
Hmm.
it's going to be really really tough, and especially if you've been on the Amazon Ads platform and you lost your
Hmm.
ass on it before. My
Hmm.
apologies that happened to you. It's happened to the best of us.
Hmm.
Just don't get kicked down and stay down. Try to really apply yourself and learn so
Hmm.
much more from what you're doing with Amazon Ads.
Awesome. So I know it's been such a journey for you, Dale. And I know you said, I forgot if we were talking about it on the streamer before, but I know you'd shared that it took you a couple years for you to really get the understanding of advertising. What was that moment where you realized things finally clicked for you? And like that kind of turning point.
The 2 year mark, I didn't even touch Amazon Ads. So
Oh,
that
okay.
was all strictly just on publishing and advertising off of that platform. I think
Okay.
Amazon Ads was available, but at the time it was not within my budget. Like if I would have
Gotcha.
spent even
Okay.
$1, my wife would have murdered me. Like it was that bad at that point. I think I started breaking into Amazon Ads about 2017,
Okay.
and that's when it was a lot of just trial and error. And it wasn't until probably
Mhm.
2018, 2019 that I was really getting some great traction. But it was being a student of the game. It was trying to understand, like, what am I getting back here? What's this data mean? How can I make sense of this alphabet soup? And what can I do to elevate my next act going forward?
Mhm. Awesome. Is there any common mistakes that you see authors making consistently with Amazon ads in this day and age?
Not knowing their audience is the big thing. There's a
Mm,
lot of times where people will turn on Amazon ads and just throw a
mhm,
bunch of stuff on there, be like, I used all these keywords. Like, well, what do these
mhm,
keywords represent to your stuff? Like, I don't understand. If you can't clearly understand who the audience is that you're trying to target, you probably shouldn't be throwing money into that. So it's understanding that. And of course, you and I already discussed is just throwing money blindly at the problem.
mhm,
Yeah, I know I just said you got to experiment, you got to play with it. But in the same instance,
mhm,
I'm not telling you to take dollar and just light it on fire and do nothing with the
mhm,
information. You're going to want to make sure you're investing that dollar, because that dollar is education right there. Like, you're
mhm,
literally paying a dollar. Boom, give me some information. Okay, Amazon comes back, gives you all these targets that worked on an auto ad. I'm going to take
mhm.
those targets that converted really well, turn it into a manual campaign, and then it's off to the races. I'm ready to tear caca up. I was trying to, boy, that sounded kindergarten like. We're just leaving that right there. I was going to go back and I was going to
Quoted
punch it
Dale
up a little
L.
bit.
Roberts. I'm going to tear caca up.
I'm going to tear caca up. Yeah. So
All right, guys, we're adulting here. That's the vibe.
that's it. That's it. Exactly.
And you haven't even had a margarita yet either.
No, no, not yet. Although I'm functioning on 3 hours of sleep since I've been moving over the last 2 days. So
Dale, I know. I think SD spoke to earlier. Your studio is different. Looks like you're in a
yeah.
brand new studio.
You are the first, Kaufman. Actually,
Mhm.
you were probably the main thing that was propelling me forward as we're moving over the last couple of days. I was like, here's
Woo!
my finish line. I have to have everything set up and functioning. It was going to be ready last night,
Uh-huh.
but I realized I left some of the vital components at the old place. So that I was like, I had to go grab all that stuff. And like today, and like we're rushing around, and my cat is freaked out. He kept me up pretty much most of the night. So I've had like three
Mhm.
hours of sleep. So it's been wonderful.
Oh man, just another week in the life, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm sure with this studio,
Mhm.
probably by tomorrow, I'll have it all dressed up and such. There's going to
Mhm.
probably be some LEDs in the background, and it's going to evolve. I'm going to have some sound treatment here as well,
Mhm.
because I'll be recording some of my audiobooks in here. It was a huge reason why I wanted this small, confined space. Is it a
Mhm.
little hotter in here? Probably, but
Mhm.
will I live? Yeah, that's fine. It
Mhm.
keeps me lean. I mean, I think of it like a poor man's sauna.
Mhm. Mormons. It's challenging you to work harder.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. There you go. Exactly.
So that's actually kind of interesting. So that brings up an interesting question. When I think about
Yeah.
Amazon and advertising, you spoke
Yeah.
to audiobooks. Is there an entirely different strategy for paperback, hardcover, audiobooks, each of the formats? I know you said
That's
it's
gonna.
knowing your readership. Um, you know.
Yeah. If you're using Amazon ads, what I would recommend is test your products, because there's going to be
Mhm,
some products that are going to convert better than others. Like, there's
mhm,
one of my books that for whatever reason the paperback sells, boom, boom, boom,
mhm,
boom, boom, like crazy. But if I
mhm,
tried putting in an ebook or a hardcover edition, for whatever
mhm.
reason,
It
the
just doesn't.
conversion's way less. So it comes
Interesting.
through a lot of trial and error for you to kind of understand like which one is converting better for me. Unfortunately,
Mm.
audiobook is still not supported by Amazon ads yet, and it's a
It's
very
not
big disappointing
okay.
situation. I got a good friend of mine. I need to reach out to him. Actually, the guest that's on the roundtable panel, Vincent
Mhm,
B. Davis the second, he actually had an exclusive invite to go and speak with the ACX team direct.
mhm.
And I know that was one of the things we brought up. Like, hey, when can we start advertising our audiobooks?
For
Take
audiobooks.
our
Well,
money.
I'm
Like,
very surprised by that. I actually thought that
yeah,
they did have it for audiobooks already, and that's especially with how
yeah.
much the audiobook market has blown up over the past X amount of years.
It's
Mhm,
probably available through a vendor or seller account, but right now for
mhm,
KDP, no, it's not available to any of us. But I anticipate they like money, so it'll eventually be available.
mhm,
There's been a lot of things that have moved really, really slowly,
mhm,
and the current dashboard that we have, the user interface,
mhm,
has changed so much over the years. But one of the things I've discovered is that Amazon will test UIs
mhm,
for various regions. And
mhm,
so, like, a lot of the instances of things that we are seeing now had actually been tested over UK first.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not surprised by that because they test out in
right.
other markets. Hmm.
Yep, yep, and they're
Hmm.
constantly expanding. So yeah, give them some time. If they don't have it available, it's not that they're trying
Hmm.
to it's not like, hey, we don't want your money. Of
No,
course, they want
it's
to make that
competing
available.
priorities. Hmm.
Yeah. So,
Hmm.
and I'm sure there's probably some complexities involved with it being a digital download that's a little bit more taxing and heavier than say an
Hmm.
ebook is. So who
Hmm.
knows? Hopefully, eventually they'll have that. But for now, it is still possible to sell some audiobooks.
Hmm.
So if you have something available through Audible/Amazon and you're driving traffic to say your ebook or one of your
Hmm.
print books, and someone says, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and buy this audiobook. That's kind of a nice little bonus. Will it
Hmm.
track those sales? I don't entirely know. I don't think so. According to some of the stuff that I've studied before, they say there's a halo effect and that they do
Interesting.
track anything underneath the brand that has been
Hmm.
sold. But as far as audiobooks go, again, I don't know. I've never seen any of that specific number. So
Hmm.
you know how it is where you're like, you have an ebook, let's say $4.99, and then your
Hmm.
audiobook is $9.99. And
Hmm.
so you'd be able to see when that price is different. And I
Yeah,
have
that
not
makes sense.
seen that yet.
Interesting. Well, thank you for sharing that. I think as we think about the panel tomorrow and how excited you are, SD actually asked a really, really great question. What is the one tidbit of information we should be looking forward to in your panel presentation tomorrow?
Ooh, I don't want to spoil this one. I let the experts do all the talking. In fact, we'll still be having a live Q&A afterwards. I won't have the
Mhm.
experts with me. But yeah, I don't want to spoil too much. Although there is a special guest expert.
Ooh,
And that part I do want to spoil with you guys. Watch out. You're going to
all right.
see in one of our experts, another expert pops into the frame. You're going to see, oh my gosh, it was tremendous. But beyond that, though, yeah, I don't want to spoil too much. It's a fantastic roundtable. I feel like it
Mhm.
performed on the same level as what I
Mhm.
did with the self-publishing companies last year. So I don't know what I'm going to do next year to top things with AWC because where do I go from here?
I think it's always the challenge, right? Whenever we do any
Yeah.
type of event, because I do a lot of events on here on the Right Now channel as well, and I always ask myself, when an event goes successfully, how do I do it better next time? Right?
Yeah.
So you can always improve it. And I'm sure you probably have that same thing with your books and anytime
Oh yeah.
you do things.
Every time, every
Mhm.
time. I'm constantly going back and analyzing the things that I'm doing because it helps me understand where do I need to focus my attention because
Mhm.
it's always going to evolve. It's never a constant for any good business owner out there. They need to be flexible and ready to kind of change. And so, I mean, but I guess that puts me in a nice position because I'm very
Mhm.
fortunate that I'm making a living from this. This is crazy. Some people are like, "Hey, you doing what? YouTube videos and books," and they're like, it sounds like two entirely separate things, but it's one thing to me.
Mhm. And kind of all goes under that same the same bracket of building an authorship, branding, authorship, community, readership,
Yeah,
whatever you want to call it. It's all the
yeah,
thing.
for sure.
For any of our writers or authors out there, do you have any simple strategies for them to kind of get started with building their authorship so they can start focusing towards advertising eventually?
I say the very first thing is let's go back to the advice I gave before, is understanding who your audience is.
Mhm.
Remember, you can't write for everybody. You could
Mhm.
try to write for everybody, but I'm going to tell you something. This was a lesson I learned the hard way on the first
Mhm.
book that I did. When you write for everyone, you write for no one. So get
Mhm.
in your head, like, who is your ideal reader? Who is that person you're having that conversation? Is it
Mhm.
Kaufman? Am I writing a fiction book for him? Then I'm
Mhm.
going to go ahead and write that for him. Understand who your audience is. You are not your audience. All right. Focus on writing for that audience and delivering
Mhm.
good value for that audience, whether you're fiction or nonfiction. And you're going to be able to crush it in due time. Be very reader focused, and it's going to
Okay.
come back tenfold. I could go on a whole rant on this one, but I'm going to go ahead and just stand down for right now because it gets when I get in one of my rants, you won't even be able to stop me. It's gonna probably like offend a couple of people, but I will say this that get out of your own way. If you're an
Mhm.
author, write. That's the most
Mhm.
important thing you got to do is write and write and write and get
Mhm.
really good at it. And when
Mhm.
you're really, really good at it,
Mhm.
then you start to transition over to the ads. Then you go ahead and start to invest those things.
Do you think the strategies are similar whether you're writing fiction or nonfiction? Because I know you do a lot of nonfiction, and then I have a lot of fiction writers in my community. Is it a similar framework?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're again understanding who your audience is,
Hmm.
knowing where to meet them in the middle, and being able to
Hmm.
provide that. There's too many times I think a lot of people think that, well, my niche is this, or
Hmm.
my niche is that.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. But just understanding that that reader you need to reach and get to, and
Hmm.
path of least resistance, go straight ahead.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I know with all of your knowledge about the industry as it pertains to advertising, where do you think the industry is heading in general? When if we start thinking of like 1, 2 years from now, I know everybody's mindset is around not just advertising. Obviously, AI is in the space and everything
Yep.
that's going on in the communities.
Mhm.
Where do you see it going?
Well, definitely, we're going to see AI having more of a stronger hold on what we're
Mhm.
doing. I mean, you're already seeing it part of a lot of the tools on Amazon.
Mhm.
It's not just Amazon ads; it's at every facet of those
Mhm.
things, and it's understanding like how can I leverage artificial intelligence in a way that
Mhm.
sets well with me. Because I know there's a lot of authors out there that are completely anti AI, and that's
Mhm.
totally fine. I'm not going to try to push you over to the pro side of things. You're going to need to get there when you want to get there, and if you feel
Mhm.
like AI, oh gosh. Problem
Mhm.
is, you're going to need to work in a business that currently embraces that,
Mhm.
and you need to snuff out all the noise. Don't worry about all the stuff that's outside of you. Oh, someone's writing AI books and you're putting it out. If you're an author, write. Do your dang work. All right. Don't worry about this other person who over here
Mhm.
is using AI.
Mhm.
Guess what? They're putting
Mhm.
out hammered garbage. You're a human being that's putting out human work, and people are going to
Mhm.
appreciate it at the end of the day. Don't
Yep,
worry about
that's
everybody
it.
else.
That's it. People are going to be more connected or more interested in following people,
Yep.
real human brands.
Yep. Don't even worry. Yeah.
Mhm.
Everybody's worried about getting their jobs replaced. Get out of here.
Mhm.
Come on, man. Well, at least authors. Other people, though, yeah, it's a scary situation for some people.
So with everything that you do in the community, Dale, I'm really curious since we do a lot of writing focused stuff here.
Mhm.
How do you find time to write? For any of our like writers or new writers in here, do you have any like writing strategies where you've been able to be consistent with your own work?
Guilt. Oh, lots of guilt.
Oh, guilt. Okay. Okay, I
That's
love that. All right, guilt.
yeah. I'm a binge writer.
Okay.
I will go through like periods where I will write for weeks on end, and then there are
Mhm.
times where, like for instance, I've been so stinking busy, like I will
Mhm.
just get maybe a half hour tops in.
Mhm.
But ideally, what I do is I try to set out the first hour or two of my day, like the very
Mhm.
first thing. Don't touch email, don't touch YouTube, don't touch anything else. Turn on, open up my writing software, and go to
Mhm.
town. And I make sure that that time is 1000% devoted to that. And when I do, I'll tell you, I'm cranking out 1,000 per hour. So it's 1,000 going 2,000, one after the other, just boom, boom, boom. Pomodoro method, it's my best, my favorite way. 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, 15-minute break after 4 rounds. It's one of the best ways. It makes work go really fast, believe it or not. It's like, oh God, I just did 2 hours.
And it sounds like that's been really, really effective for you. I know, I think originally I think I would used to like write for days at a time and then not write for months. And I used to have this very
Yeah.
inconsistency in my life. And I didn't really know what Pomodoro, like what that even meant or what that was until I started
Yeah.
going online. I'm like, all right, so why would I want to write for 20 minutes? If I'm going to write, I want to write for longer. But since
Yeah.
I've been doing it as part of the streams, I found out so much value in I think it's setting a small amount of time for a lot of writers to just get into the writing mindset. I
Yeah.
usually do multiple sprints, and I think sometimes it takes somebody 20 to 25 minutes to get themselves into that creative flow.
Yeah, there are some people though. I tell you, my wife when she tried doing pomos, she hated it. She was like 25 minutes. She's finally writing her first sentence. She's like, "Oh, okay. Ow, it's stopping now. Like, why don't I just keep going?" I'm like, "Well, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take that 25 minutes and just it's like a faucet. Open that faucet up, let it go, boom, and just as soon as that 25 minutes up, 5 minutes, boom, I'm up. I'm walking away, taking a breath, drinking some water, doing some squats. I don't know what it is I'm gonna do, but I'm doing anything but the writing. But yeah, she
Mhm.
was not keen on that. So just know that
Mhm.
if any of you authors out there are watching this and going, I can't do pomos, totally fine. Don't
Mhm.
feel bad. Just find that rhythm that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't burn you out. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so if that's 50 minutes, 10 minutes
Mm-hmm.
off, great, run with that. If it's an hour, half hour off, great, do that. Try something that works for you. I have found that though, the traditional 25 on, 5 off works
Mm-hmm.
really well for me.
Awesome. I think that's really, really cool. And then yeah, so Dale, I think this is absolutely a great conversation. I know I could keep asking you questions forever, but with your panel tomorrow, what are you the most excited about it?
I'm just excited. It's almost like a kid at Christmas who's bought
Mm-hmm.
like a present for everybody, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the way I feel about this one. I mean, I've been sitting on the idea since earlier this year, and I've been sitting
Mm-hmm.
on the video for less than a month. Like we recorded it within the last 2 to 3 weeks, and I did it purposefully because
Mm-hmm.
Amazon Ads changes so much, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I could have recorded it back in like February, but the
Mm-hmm.
problem is we would have
Yeah,
arrived to
things would have
June,
changed.
and then like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not everything is going to be evergreen. So, but I think though with the panel and what they provided, they gave a lot of great insights, a lot of inspiration, and it's
Mm-hmm.
super encouraging when you hear them validating some of the things where you're like, ah, I knew it. Like you're going to just
Yes.
discover where it's, yeah, exactly. Like we even bring up lock screen ads at one point or another, which
Mm-hmm.
that just disappeared over the last year. No one said a word. Like it
Interesting.
disappeared. But we talk about lock screen ads and so much more. But I'm like a kid at Christmas. I'm excited for everybody to open the gift, and then directly following it, I'll be able to answer all their questions.
What are you hoping for? So anyone who attends the panel, what are you
Mhm.
hoping for them to walk away with?
I certainly hope that they walk away with a better mindset and outlook on Amazon ads and some additional strategies, because they really shared some like, I loved it. There were some of them I was just like, yes, that's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying. And there's other ones where I'm going, oh, okay, all right, I hear you. So yeah, there's so much that you guys are going to enjoy. Get your notebook, bring along. I'm sure you're probably going to watch this video a couple times because
Mm-hmm.
some of the strategies, because we're getting 5 different experts that are sharing
Mm-hmm.
all of their different viewpoints. And by the way, it was harmonious too. There was never any like, yeah, that's a dumb idea. Although I don't see Dave or Brian or any of the other ones saying that
Saying
to each
dumb
other.
ideas.
They're, yeah, stupid.
Well, Dale, I know I am so excited for it. I'm not even at the advertising part of my journey yet, and I want to learn all the secrets before I even get into it.
Hey, a good place to start for sure.
Mhm. So that is, for anyone who doesn't know, the not only does the AWC start tomorrow, but Dale, your panel, I want to say, takes place at 6 p.m. Eastern time
Yep.
tomorrow. So it's one of our big presentations tomorrow with a bunch of panelists. Once again, you said with Dave Chesson, Brian Cohen, Vincent B. Davis, Teddy Smith, and Rick Wong.
Yep, that was it. Good memory.
So I'm super excited for it. Dale, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You've been a blast, man. I think we had even just getting on before air, just being able to yuck it up. It's always nice when you connect with a guest, right? Where you get on and you just can yuck it up and you can loosen up, go into a live stream and go, let's go kill
Mhm.
it, man.
And I just dropped the links down in the chat. So anybody who wants to check out those links, just drop them down in the chat. For anyone who wants to go check out the AuthorTube Writing Conference website or the playlist. The playlist actually has all of the speakers, all of the presentations who are going to be speaking over the next 3 days. I said we have some incredible ones, but Dale, like I'm especially looking forward to yours and the big names that are in it. So I feel like I'm going to have to bring my notepad, bring my recorder, and then go back and forth and keep listening to the video.
There you go. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Dale, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I think we'll call that. Everyone, make sure to come join us tomorrow for the AuthorTube Writing Conference. We kick off with opening ceremony at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Go check out the link, go check out the stuff, and come join us tomorrow. Dale, it's been incredible. And thank you everyone for joining us. We'll catch you tomorrow.